This church tower, built in 1639, is all that remains above ground of 17th century Jamestown. But every day, archaeologists unearth hundreds of objects from the early 17th century, all within the foundations of the 1607 fort. Until William Kelso came along, no one believed it was still there, buried under layers of dirt.
The conventional wisdom was that the 1607 fort, that which is now 400 years old this year, couldn't be found because of river erosion had taken it and destroyed it.
But in 1994, Kelso, the director of archaeology at historic Jamestown, proved them wrong.
We found that almost the entire fort itself was not only not washed away, but it's all here on land. All of the buried remains of the walls and the buildings and the artifacts that were there. And over 1 million objects have been found that date to this early 17th century time period.
Kelso's crew is currently scraping away layers of dirt within an old well to uncover buried artifacts.
A well is an absolute time capsule, as it turns out, because people begin to lose things, drop things, it begins to fill in, and then once there's no more water, you just fill in the hole with garbage and trash.
What was trash is now treasure, carefully cleaned on the banks of the James River and transported to the laboratory, where Bly Straub, senior curator at Historic Jamestown, examines, catalogs, and analyzes every artifact to determine what role it may have had in the lives of the people who lived here 400 years ago. Straub says every object, every shard of pottery, reveals something.
If you know how to read the material, if you can put it all into context, then they can talk to you just like a document can.
Archaeologists have found a wealth of objects, including surgical tools, fine Chinese porcelain, and parts of musical instruments, like these mouthpieces from a trumpet and woodwind, artifacts that reveal a rich and varied life in Jamestown for the colonists. Captain John Smith, who was an early leader of the colony, anticipated that Jamestown would become a great city. Bly Straub is thankful that it did not.
Because if it had, we would not have found the wealth of material that we have found today. It would all have been destroyed or buried.
For many centuries it was. But now, as Americans mark the 400th anniversary of Jamestown, they are getting a fresh perspective on life in the colony by examining what was left behind. Susan Logue, VOA News, Jamestown, Virginia.